The NFL, man, they
Yeah.
have been underpaying running backs for feels like a few years. Well, nah, about a decade now. Honestly,
Mm, um.
going back to Bell Le'Veon. How long ago was that?
No. Yeah. That was like 5 years ago.
Five. Yeah,
Five
okay,
years. 5 or so years ago. Yeah.
yeah.
Where they
So
wouldn't
going
want.
back,
They didn't want to pay him the money he wanted.
so they've been underpaying running backs for a very, very long time, and the question is starting to arise now with this string of injuries over the past couple of weeks. Are they rightfully doing so? So, D'Lo, how do you feel about this whole situation with this, bro?
I mean, I've gone on record multiple times, maybe not on the podcast, but in multiple conversations that I've had about NFL, and when players get money, you got to really watch them after that, because everybody's competitive, but
Mm-hmm.
you get to a certain point where the love for the game isn't quite as high as it once was when you were trying to get to the point that you are, or when you get to the point that you want it to be at. The love for the game isn't there. Some people, it's college, because it's more than what they were doing in high school, more than what they bargained for. A lot of people, if they're lucky enough, they make it to the NFL, they get a certain amount of money, or they achieve whatever they want to achieve in life, and now that love has fallen off. They just do it for a check. We've had a conversation similar to
Mm-hmm.
that previous episodes. In this regard, though, I feel like the NFL needs to start guaranteeing more money and falling in line with a lot more of the leagues that guarantee these high dollar amounts of high dollar contracts to their players. Say it all the time. We played the wrong sports. They should have played basketball and
Should
took
have
it
played
serious, or
basketball. Should have played
baseball and
baseball.
took
Yep.
it serious, because y- y- the NFL running back at one point in time was like the staple of every offense. Now the football has evolved. It's more of a passing league now.
Mm-hmm.
The running back isn't as much the center of the offense as it is the quarterback and receivers and even some tight ends now.
Mm-hmm.
So, you do see that evolution happening, or has happened, is taking place. But the running back is still a physical position to play, especially when you talk about running in between tackles and, carrying the ball 20, maybe 15 to 20 times a game. You're going to take a beating. And
Mm-hmm.
outside of running back, your linemen is like the other, like, very physical position on the game. They in fact give the most punishment, or take the most punishment after every football game. But it seems like your tackles and some of even your high profile guards get paid more than the running backs now. So I think it needs to be. I don't think the NFL is right in their stance right now in not paying the running backs, because it's really going to change the game if you remove the running back out. It will just be a true 7-on-7 going
Mm-hmm.
moving forward, and maybe even a flag football league moving forward.
Facts.
But I think they need to figure out a way to come back to the table, pay the running back. Because I mean, and pay the. Let's finish that thought. Come back to the table, pay the running backs. If not what they're looking for, guarantee them a little bit more money, and do right. Because we saw last week that Nick Chubb, who's done everything right in the NFL since he's been there, he's suffered a traumatic injury to the same knee that he injured
In
while he was
college.
at Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know what the answer to that is, but I think they definitely need to, do better with how they're treating the running backs right now. And if they're not going to give them the money that they all are looking for, they should guarantee more of their contract. What's your thoughts on it?
I can agree with you in that sense, because just going back to what you said about what positions are paid the most. Of course, the quarterback is the highest paid position in the league. It's been
And
that
you
way
can't
for a
touch the
long time now.
quarterback.
You can't touch them. The receivers are the counterpart of the quarterback, because pitch and catch, throwing the ball all down the field.
Hmm.
The game has become more entertainment than it's
Hmm.
become ground and pound. Because, like you
Right.
said, you know, in the 90s and early 2000s, the running back was the staple of the game until it became this air raid of a lead that it is now. But like you said, tackles and guard offensive linemen get paid more than running backs. Of course, the quarterback does, and a lot of receivers do too. And there's been a pandemic of franchise tagging going on with running backs for the past 5, 6, 7 years now, going all the way
Mm-hmm.
back to Le'Veon Bell. But and the running back gets hit every single play. I was talking to my lady and I was telling her how football is, and I was like, it's literally 60 car crashes for 4 straight quarters. If you get
Mm-hmm.
60 plays a game, it's a car crash every single play. And the running back takes 60 of those every single game. Because they run the ball between the tackles and outside. They get hit every time they run the ball. They get hit, and they're in the passing game most of the time now. So they get hit every time they catch the ball. They're in the
Mm-hmm.
passing game whenever they're blocking. And
Right.
then whenever they're blocking so they become an offensive lineman in that sense, because they got to block the edge, they got to block up the middle. Big ass linebackers coming through the middle trying to tear. If I saw Micah Parsons coming up the middle, I ain't trying to hit him. But they
Mm-hmm.
put their body in the way, and they protect the quarterback, who's the highest paid player on the field. So the only thing is that, like you said, the average career for an NFL player these days is like 3 years. For a running back,
Mm-hmm.
it's like 2,
Mm-hmm.
because they take so much of a grueling beating on the field every single Sunday, and Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. So it's like, yes, I believe they should be paid a lot, because they do more than what they're getting paid for. They're overworked, they're underpaid.
Mm-hmm.
But with these injuries, like you said, Nick Chubb just had a season-ending knee injury, same knee that he injured in college. You got Saquon Barkley out with an ankle injury. You got J.K. Dobbins out. You got Austin Eckler out. You got David Montgomery out. So it's like they take so much of a beating, and their best ability is availability.
Right.
So if they're not available, why are we paying y'all? So I'm
Exactly.
kind of on the fence with it, but I do want them to get paid more. Don't get me wrong. I think they deserve
Yeah.
to be paid. But it's like, dang, like they take so much of a beating, and their careers don't last as long as the average player. So why would we give them those big 10-year, $250 million contracts? Why would we do that?
Right.
So
And that's
it's
why
kind
I
of tough.
said, yeah. But that's why I said, if you're not going to give them the money that they are wanting or that they desire, then guarantee more of their contract. So
True, true, true.
so that way, even if they're hurt, um, and you can even lessen the contract length that they have. So instead of having 3 to 4 year contracts, give them one, or I guess that would be
That's the franchise
franchise
tag. Yeah,
esque, but
yeah.
give them a 2 to 3 year contract, but then most of that contract is guaranteed. That way, if they do get hurt, then the money that they're looking for is not there, but they have more of incentive to, I guess it's not an incentive, but they have more money in their contract that they know they're going to get on an ongoing basis, even though that they're hurt. And that could, potentially say, all right, well, I'm not getting the money that I want, but I am getting more guaranteed money. So then it's kind of like a win-win or a lose-lose, however you see it, however you want to look at it, glass half empty, glass half full
Mm-hmm.
basis. But they're getting some money, and that's the issue that a lot of players in the NFL and a lot of gripe that they have is, like I mentioned earlier, you have all these other sports that guarantee contracts no matter what the stipulation is, no matter what the injury is. If you put your name on that dotted line, if the franchise thought that much of you to offer you this type of contract and it's guaranteed, you put your name on the dotted line, good to go. Not the case in NFL. The NFL is a incentive laced contract league,
Mm-hmm.
and they're starting to creep towards more guaranteed money, but
They
you
are
see it more so with quarterbacks
more so
now.
with quarterbacks. Yep.
And then you as of lately, everybody that's it seems like that's signed a major contract, they've had more guaranteed money included in their contracts. But historically, it hasn't been a guaranteed contract league. So if you start to do that, then I think you'll start to see the running backs taper down their sentiments a little bit more. You'll
Mm-hmm.
start to see the league, the holdouts that you have, you'll start to see that taper down a little bit more as well. And maybe we can move past all of this. I'm like you as well, kind of on the fence, because like you said, availability is the best ability that you have, and if you're not able to play, then you're not only hurting yourself as the product
Mm-hmm.
on the field, but you're hurting the team and the franchise as well because they're depending on you. You're not there. And, I know all about not being
Yeah.
available. I was hurt throughout my college career, so I know all about that. Luckily, it didn't hurt the team, but I know all about it.
Yeah, and but so with that being said, as far as the injuries, how do you feel about a couple of union leaders in the NFLPA saying that, well, not necessarily, kind of around about saying that running backs should start, quote unquote, faking or feigning or exaggerating injuries to get more leverage with the NFL to get more contracts. Me personally, I don't think that'll work. Like,
Yeah, no,
because again, your best ability is availability. So if you acting like you hurt,
right,
that ain't gonna get, to me, that's not gonna get you no leverage
right,
because they already act like they don't need you. So if you hurt, they can just go. The NFL feels like a running back is replaceable. They're a dime a dozen. Like you can get a
and
good
they are
you can get
really.
a good running back in the third round. You can get the same type of running back in the sixth or the seventh. So
Mhm.
they feel like they're replaceable, which I mean,
To some degree. I
to
mean,
some degree,
the
yeah.
the the Bijan Robinsons of the world, because he's
Hmm.
looking already
He's looking
looking amazing
amazing.
this
He
year.
is.
Those type of backs, they're hard to find because
Yeah.
he can catch it out the backfield. He can give you the in the hole
Hmm.
and get
And
missing,
he's powerful.
and
Yeah.
he's powerful. So he has it all. And those type of backs aren't easy to find.
Hmm.
And then you also the Christian McCaffreys of the world who
Hmm.
could play a slot receiver full time basis if you needed him to, but he's
Hmm.
good in the backfield as well. I mean, those individuals are tough to find, but the majority of backs in the league that you see nowadays, you can find them relatively easy throughout the draft.
Yeah.
It's just those select few that's hard to find. So
But yeah, faking injuries ain't gonna get you no leverage.
yeah, no. So thank you. So
Yeah.
to answer that question, no, I don't think that's the thing to do. I also feel like it could backfire as well because if you look at it on the other end of the scope, like I mentioned to you, these individuals get these contracts and you have to really watch them to see how they act after the fact, after they get the money, because some individuals love the game or not, they get a
Hmm.
lump sum of money or they start to get these big contracts and then they taper off. Now, this is a this example that I'm about to mention is not exactly great, but it kind of shows you how things happen. So I think 2013 Cam Newton signed or 2012 something like that.
Hmm.
Cam Newton signed $100 million contract. Now he did perform well the next 2 years, and then
Hmm.
injuries happened to him, his throwing shoulder, and his career started to taper off. But after he signed that contract, he peaked and then he started to go down. You
Hmm.
see that kind of often in the NFL where some individuals get these big contracts and then they do perform slightly better than what they did prior to signing the contract, but one or two injuries later and then the next year they could be on their way out the league. And I think
Hmm.
that's what owners are thinking about is, well, I sign these individuals to these big contracts, I give them the guaranteed money, and then 3 years they're out the league, and then we could be like the New York Mets having to pay Bobby Bonilla $1 million a year for
I'm
the
telling
next
you.
30 years, because we weren't expecting him to not be there to help contribute to the team, and now we have to restructure that money so we can give it to other individuals. So
Yeah, it's just a hard situation for the running backs to be in because they are such a pillar of the offense because they do so much on the field every single week, but they take such a beating that it's hard for you to say that there's not a lot of rules around the running back. There's a lot of rules
yeah.
around the receivers. There's a lot of rules around the quarterback, but there's not a
Mhm.
lot of rules in the trenches. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it's just hard to get. It's hard to give them that money because there's nothing protecting them. They can run for 150 yards on Sunday, one week. Next week they can be like, and all respect to him, but can be like Nick Chubb and be out for the season.
Right.
So it's just hard to say, man. I mean, I'm on the fence about it. I want them to get paid more, but their availability sometimes is just like they get touched so much, pause, every single week
Mhm.
that you can't really you can't. I'm sorry. You can't really say that you can give the running backs that bread. But I do want them to get paid though.
Yeah, I mean, but it's all across the board. That's the last thing I'll say is everybody. Football, as you mentioned, is a violent sport,
Mm-hmm.
and injuries occur all across the board. It's not just a running back position.
Yeah.
That's why you have multiple receivers. You know, in the on deck just in case one of your star receiver or one of your starters get hurt. That's why you have multiple linemen, multiple skill positions, all
Mm-hmm.
that. So it's definitely not just the running back position that's going through this injury situation, or this injury plague that's happening right now in the NFL. It's definitely all positions, but it seems like they're the ones that's getting the short end of the stick when it comes to the amount of money that they're getting in the league. Where everybody else is getting paid more, it seems like their pay has been stagnant and not
Declining,
going,
really.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
declining,
declining.
really
Yeah,
on it. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Thank you for watching this video. If you made it this far and you like what you see, there's a video on the screen right here. Make sure you click that and view that. I think you'll love it. Also, there's a subscribe button right here too. Go ahead and hit that. We have a goal of 450 this week, and we're on all your streaming platforms, wherever you find your podcasts.